Welcome everyone. My name is Souhaits, your newest Clark County Poet Laureate. I'm so excited to be here, joined by our guest Vanessa Latrice Williams, one of my favorite poets in the city. Just an incredible person for all of us to hear. I'm excited for all of you to hear some of her poems from her new book, Poetically Affirmed. And I'm excited to hear a little bit about how Vanessa came into this project of the book, and maybe some of you out there can use this as a jump start for you to get into your own book project. So Vanessa, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. It's an honor. You know, I definitely love everything that is like Vegas and culture and Clark County. So to be able to be a part of this is just so amazing. So thank you so much, definitely.
Yeah, thank you. I was so excited to meet you when I did and to hear your poetry at that slam. And I guess just one of the things that we love to ask all of our guests on the show is, like, what brought you to poetry? And I guess the other half of that is, what does poetry do for you? Like, why do you write poetry?
Yeah, man, that's amazing. So actually, I started writing poetry when I was 10 years old. It was an assignment in class, and we had to write a little poem about our life. And I'd never written poetry before. I never was exposed to it, but we just had a little lesson in class. I was like, okay, let's do it. And I wrote, and it just, something clicked.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Even at 10, I was like, this is something like that I'm passionate about. And it just began from there. And just writing, and poetry became like an outlet and a way to express the things that you really can't say, or even know how to articulate, or even how to explain to other people. So it was a way for me for healing, for therapy, for just a way to get through life. And it really has become that anchor, that resource, that just everything. It really has.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like poetry is always like, it's definitely a tool for like discovery, like you're saying.
Absolutely.
Like, and self-knowledge. But I'm wondering, so I mean, like, that was, you know, you were in school, you know what I mean? That was a while ago. You're 21 years old. So 10 years later,
21, exactly, yes.
10 years later, why, like, what brings you back to the page? How have you not like gotten tired of it? You know what I mean? What is it still doing that thing? Are you still learning about yourself?
I think poetry is so multi-dimensional that you can never really grasp it in its entirety, even in a lifetime, I don't think. I think it has so many different elements to it, and you learn so much about yourself. I'm so inspired by other people, and so I think that's what keeps the flame going.
And so, I mean, we're here at the Springs Preserve, and I think there's
absolutely beautiful, by the way. Oh my goodness, if you've never been, you have to come. It's absolutely amazing.
Please. And I'm thinking about all of the ways that this place is it's like nice and inspiring for me. It's a place where I would come to write, and it's like quiet. And I'm wondering, like, where do you find poetry? Where do you write poetry? What's your routine around that?
Yeah, well, it's crazy because when I first moved to Vegas, I'm originally from California. So when I first moved to Vegas, I didn't know where the poetry scene was. And I actually didn't even know it existed in Vegas, to be honest with you.
Most people don't.
And I had no idea there was this world of creatives that literally are from Vegas and just what it has to offer. So when I first got here, I actually just went on Instagram and just looked for poetry places and was like, cool. So I actually came across this one event called The Truth Spot, hosted by Rail The Truth. And I went, my first time going, I got on the mic, and it was just so amazing. And I was reminded of how much I love to perform and how much I love to be in that place and around people, the energy, all of that. And so just finding different avenues and places to do that as well. Also, like, just recently, they're at the One Bar, was it? I think it's
Level One Bar.
Level One Bar. There we go. They have a poetry night now every Wednesday night, and that has been absolutely incredible as well, hosted by L Hope. And so just all these different spots where people are just making room for poets. And that is just so amazing.
I think the energy of those live shows is something that I really missed during the pandemic. You know, like, you can hop on the Zoom readings, and I think saying that you like look on Instagram is so useful. Like, if you guys are looking for places to find poetry, hop on Eventbrite, hop on Instagram, and just search like Las Vegas poetry. You'll be surprised what you can find, and there's always something out there for us. Like, you know, that the True Spot is on Saturdays, right? and then Wednesdays is Spotlight Poetry. Fridays, they've got the thing at Cork and Thorpe. You know, there's always something happening poetry related in the city. That's wonderful. So do you have a poem that you can share with us?
Yes, absolutely.
But first, actually, then I want to talk a little bit about Poetically Affirmed. Where can people find this book?
So it's available on Amazon in ebook form and also on paperback. It is my newest book. I'm super, super excited.
Yes.
I wrote this from a place, from not a very good place. You know, I wrote it wanting to feel these certain things. So I wrote it first as an encouragement to myself. I wrote these affirmations to be able to help me and put me in a place mentally, emotionally, spiritually of growth in life and just being better. And so this is really where, you know, what that came from and what came out of it. So I'm super excited about that as well.
That's beautiful, because I think sometimes what people forget about poetry is that you can write yourself to that better place.
Exactly.
Right. That's beautiful.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I'm excited for you guys to hear this poem from Vanessa Latrice Williams. And where can they find you on social media?
On Instagram or Facebook at Vanessa Latrice Williams.
Keep it easy.
Yes.
All right.
So this poem I'm going to share, it is called The Woman I Used to Be. And it was actually a poem that I performed at Beyond the Neon Poetry Slam, where I actually took first place, hosted by Miss AV. And that was an amazing experience as well. So here we go. If you run into the woman I used to be, I have a few things I need you to tell her. Tell her she's traded perfection for transparency, the automatic for authenticity. No longer living in self-hate, instead of walls, she puts up gates. Not blocking what's coming, just more discerning about who and what to let in. She's becoming a better friend. Turned out to be the best decision she's ever made. No more silent rage, keeping her trapped in a cage. In her mind, she was a slave. And trapped in condemnation so deep, it had her by the throat. She couldn't speak, she was mute. But no more. No longer hiding her flaws or basing her value on others' applause. She shows her scars, pointing to the moments of weakness, knowing one day it will produce a sound out of others' mouths declaring, I can get through this. She learned her worth, for it was found in the one who loved her first, before birth and after the curse. She even got to keep the things she loved about the girl she once was, just adding faith in God, self-love, and purpose. Going in the right direction, third person her compass. Her life, no longer built on shame and guilt, but beautifully crafted by mercy and grace. She's removed other kings and put God in his place. She came face to face with the mask of her enemy, but denying all false identity. Her broken pieces will be used for God's glory. The world will know her story. Oh, and one more thing. If you run into the woman I'm supposed to be, tell her I'm doing everything I can today to meet her tomorrow. Thank you.
I love that poem so much.
Thank
I love
you.
that poem so much.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for being here with us. You're like the first person that I've had on the show,
Yay!
so it's my first time. I appreciate you doing that with me.
I appreciate it as well.
And y'all stay tuned for Vanessa Latrice Williams. She's only been here for a few years, and she's got a lot more to give us as a community, so we're really grateful. Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
so
And we'll see you
much.
next time.